Now, imagine just reading the stories of people who have, significantly impacted the fortunes of the country. Just reading about them or just hearing stories being told by your grandparents or by your mother. Just imagine that, and not necessarily having to feel and really understand exactly what these people had to go through. Akosia Beye Kweno is a filmmaker, and she has decided to document the lives of these individuals who have significantly, be it good or bad, that's what she says. So whether it is in the good way or is in a bad way, she is bringing it to your doorstep in a film. Good morning, Akosia.
Good morning, Asidwa.
So before we got started, right? Well, the reason I was smiling was she let me know that her maiden name before she married was Asiedu.
Yes, hello.
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Fantastic.
All right. So tell us about documenting lives in Ghana. Tell us about it in general.
Okay, the essence of documenting Ghana was my observation that as a country, we don't really have one cohesive story or stories about people who have influenced our fortunes.
Yes.
Be it our founding fathers,
yes,
all our presidents, Ghanaians who have influenced and inspired us, if Dr. Efemamu, Madam Theodosia Oko, Kofi Annan,
We only see it in books.
And these books, where do you even see them
Where
these
do you even
days?
see them, exactly?
And we even still have some of them living with us today. But we haven't documented their stories at all. So I felt that, no, we should do something about it. It appeared a daunting task because it means that you really have to sit them down and film them,
yes,
get them to tell their own stories. But I think what challenged me was the fact that in the Western world, even the stories of criminals are documented and kept.
Exactly, and kept.
If you go to the US, Al Capone, Babe Ruth, these were unfortunate characters, but their stories are documented, properly documented. There are films about them. These are to serve as cautionary tales, but even as educative materials, even sometimes for the crime-fighting organizations in those countries. And here we have nothing. And my take is that if you don't know who you've been, that is your history, how do you understand who you are and how do you move forward? So I said...
And with what you're saying right now, it just took me back to, there was a time that someone said that, the Yasanta and the Confanoches that we keep on seeing in books and all that, they are not real. They were just stories that our grandparents were telling us to scare us and to make us think that, we're all that. And you see, it's sad because we don't have proof like this to show that indeed that we had a Yasantwa. Indeed, there was a Confanoche. So this is very impressive. There was a
reason why our ancestors had oral history, because before we started writing down our stories as a people, I think throughout mankind, we've gone through stages where before writing became a part of the culture, there was oral history. And then when with the introduction of the West onto our coast and also into our country, we also started writing and documenting stuff. I think that most of the documenting were done from a Western perspective in those early days. You understand? But I think that with time, especially the early Ghanaians who went through Western education, they came back and documented some. I think we haven't done a good follow-up of those stories. So that's why I said, okay, I can sit and talk about it, but I'm a trained filmmaker. And I remember when I was growing, when I decided to become a filmmaker, one of the people that I featured in the music video, Professor Maria Poku, is of blessed memory, he said to me, Akosia, whatever you become, make sure Ghana benefits from it. So I said to myself, I can't just sit outside my homeland and then complain. I need to come and then see and then actually do what needs to be done.
Was the complaint based on this project that you've done right now, not the stories or the lives of these very important people not being documented, or it was on the filmmaking in Ghana in general?
No, it wasn't about filmmaking.
Okay.
It was about the need to document the lives for posterity.
Okay.
It's bigger than filmmaking.
Okay.
It's to help us Ghanaians understand our story, keep it down so that your children and their children can know who we've been. You understand? Right now, if you... I'll tell you a quick anecdote. My daughter schools, we live in the US. She came home one day and she brought a book. It was their class reading book for the week. I took the book and I read. The title is One Hen. I read the book and it was about Kwabena Darko. And I asked myself, how many children and it's about the entrepreneur Kwabena Darko and how he began. Somebody has taken the story and just narrowed it into a small children's book. And I said to myself, how many children in Ghana know about Kwabena Darko?
Yeah.
Maybe some may have heard of him in the 92, election campaign, but how many of us know of him as one of our most successful entrepreneurs in this country? You understand? And as a Ghanaian, I felt a little bit ashamed that why haven't we done this? But then I asked myself, why haven't you done this? Because you're also a filmmaker. You understand? Your tool is film. You understand? So if somebody's tool is the pen and they can write about somebody from your... And the writer isn't even from Ghana. I think the writer is a Canadian. You understand? Yes, the writer is a Canadian.
Imagine.
So that was what... So it bubbled up and then... I think that
just fueled you up.
COVID was, I think, the last straw, was a big inspiration. Because COVID, a lot of people passed away.
Yes.
And I could see that most of the people that were in this country that I wanted to document on were also aging. So my prayer was, okay, if we get through this, when I get the opportunity to go back home, this is what I'm going to do. And then here we are.
Now, one would ask, how were you able to get these people to be on board with you? How were you able to convince them that, you know what, the very private lives that you have lived all these years, not necessarily being in the eyes of people or being in the faces of people, but we want you to share, bear it all for all of us to see. How did you convince them? What went into it?
First of all, it's not a them. I've done the first one, which is Dr. Ishmael Yamson.
Ishmael Yamson,
so
yes.
I spoke to him. Thankfully, I knew him. So I spoke to him and I said, this is what I intend to do. And I think that you owe it to this country to tell your story. Let a young child somewhere take inspiration from you. Not everybody can have access to you. But when you leave your story down for posterity, God knows how many lives your story can influence. And I think that it also touched him. And even though, so
it was very easy for him to be convinced.
It wasn't easy. Because I think that, as Ghanaians, we are naturally very private.
Yeah.
So it's very, very challenging. But I think that the argument was strong that it's not about you, This is for your country. You understand? Do it to inspire that boy in the farthest part of this country who is looking for somebody as a role model. Because I think that sometimes the West is big or great because of their history. They can call upon names and say, oh, this person did this for my country. This person did this for our country. But here, if we don't document, just as you are saying, somebody will begin to say it's a myth.
It's a myth.
It never really happened.
Exactly.
But if it is documented there, Power Grant, for example. How many of us know about Power Grant?
Power Grant.
We may have heard the name, but who was he? What inspired him to sponsor, or bear the cost of championing our independence as a country? You understand? Theodosia Oko, why did she choose these colors for our country? We never asked her, and unfortunately, she's gone.
She's gone.
Unfortunately, she's gone.
And it wasn't too long ago.
No.
It wasn't too long ago, so we waited all this while.
And unfortunately, I wasn't even home when it happened. I said, God, she lived well, I think, over 80 years.
Yes, she was 80 plus.
As Madame Estoklu, an entrepreneur who inspired a lot of women. She even inspired the setting up of Women's World Bank. How many of us know her story?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know this part, though.
How many of us know her story? So how can a young child growing up in the Volta region, take inspiration from Esther, or growing up in the northern region, or the western region, or the central region. Say, wow, if I can be an entrepreneur, I don't need to go and beg or do this. If this woman could start making jam in her kitchen and grow a big industry out of it, then I can do it. You understand? If you go to the US, they'll tell you that the lady who started making peppermint creams, I think JC something, I've forgotten her last name, she started it in her kitchen. And it expanded, and now most of us, I think until recently, a lot of African women were, you know, relaxing their hair. It was started by an African-American woman in her kitchen. They take inspiration from that. Why can't we take inspiration from Esther Oklo?
Very impressive. So the documentary is out?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 5-part documentary.
Okay.
I'll be premiering the first 2 parts on October 15th.
October 15th?
That is by invitation, because just a few people that will be watching it with me at Moving Pick Ambassador Hotel.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so the invitation, maybe somebody would want to be a part. So
no. And I said it's strictly by invitation.
So you would have to. You would have to be the one to extend the invitation.
So it's already been extended.
Yeah. So you've already done your selection.
No.
Yeah. So I'm not invited because you are not yet giving me invitation.
I brought you.
Oh, thank you. Great. All right. Thank you so much for being here. This is very impressive, and I hope that it continues. It's not going to stop. More people's stories, more people who have really influenced Ghana being today. Their stories will be documented, and for the sake of the next generation.
Yes, and I also hope that when it's broadcasted, our young ones will take inspiration from these stories.
Yes.
Because that's the essence. And apart from just documenting it, we also need to store it.
Yes.
You understand? Because if we make all these films and they are not properly archived, they will be lost. You understand? So I'm hoping and also praying that the institutions that have been given the task to be the repository of our national records, are giving the needed support to be able to keep them, because these films that I intend to make, I only want to be the only custodian.
Okay.
You understand? I also want to hand it down so that it could be in a library where it can be accessed. So that is the vision.
Akosia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
All the best on this wonderful project.
Thank you.
My guest today has been Akosia Beye Kweno, who is a filmmaker. And my name is Esiedua Akumia. This is where we end today's edition of Fine Morning. Make sure you join us again tomorrow at exactly 6 a.m. A huge thank you to you all who sent in your messages. We go again tomorrow, okay? Make sure that you send your messages as well. Anyways, have a wonderful morning. Take very good care of yourselves. I didn't do this alone. I did this with Rosalyn Felly. See you tomorrow. Bye.